Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are back for the first of the ones and twos for this month. These were suggested by Orange Chat, and in a way it makes sense because it just so happens to coincidentally be Valentine's Day. We were going to talk about movies that do have a little bit of romance in them, but also include action, vampires, and lycans, and that is Underworld and Underworld 2. So first off, we're talking Underworld from 2003 with Kate Beckinsale, Michael Sheen, Scott Speedman, Bill Nighy, and so forth, pretty much. So it is, yes, it is kind of a love story. It is kind of a love story. It's just a beautiful mesh with action and literally underworld creatures, vampires, and lycans. And for those who do not know what lycans are, it comes from the word lycanthropy, which is what werewolfism is, pretty much. So it's vampires and werewolves.
Lycanthropes.
Yeah, so they're lycanthropes. And I appreciate they use the word lycanthrope rather than just werewolf. It actually kind of like sounds more, like I think better. Like, I love
European.
Werewolves. Yeah, like very European. I love werewolves, but I just like lycan, like a lycan.
It's more scientific, which this movie is actually more based off of, other than mysticism, or rather than mysticism.
There is like one big liberty they take where I'm like, and that is like vampires able to breed, because they are the undead. Like they have no use for any like really bodily function other than feeding on blood, pretty much.
But because this is a virus, they're not undead.
So, but they have to die.
No, they don't.
Like, is this actually a virus? Because it's like it's through.
Kevin Grievous.
Like, one was bitten by bat. One was bitten by bat. One was bitten by wolf.
Yep. Kevin Grievous, who plays Reyes in this one, the black guy with the cool voice. Yeah. He actually has a background in genetic engineering. So when he came up with this, he wanted it to be viral instead of mystic. So that way, if they do come to anything in the future, like a child, it's entirely conceivable.
Okay, I didn't like that one, like that little bit of like, I did not know, because but like then the way it makes sense pretty much, but and also like there is like that little bit of mysticism because of the whole bat and wolf thing, is because like I don't know anybody who knows the poem, even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright, or crave another's blood and his body take to flight. So
yep, I know that from from several different sources. The Wolfman movie, as well as Van Helsing.
Yeah, I think Van Helsing's the one that included the vampire parts, but like for like the Wolfman, it is like it is from an actual poem, pretty much. Even a man who's pure of heart. So, so basically,
yes, Michael. Blood Wars was a letdown.
I have not seen anything. I have not seen Blood Wars. I don't think I've seen anything really past the third one. Honestly, I need to watch like, the final two, because the third one had the giant lycan in it, right?
Third one is Rise of the Lycans. The fourth one is Awakening.
There was Rise of the Lycans. The fourth one is the giant lycan in it. Yeah. I saw that one, so I haven't seen the fifth one.
The fifth one, it's a letdown, but I still say watch it so you can get gain the full story, because they are eventually rebooting this.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the fourth one because I don't remember it other than the giant lycan.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was okay, and they should have stopped there, because they did Speedman bad, or they did his character raw or dirty in the fifth.
So, that's like I said, I haven't watched it, so I'm like trusting what you say there.
Yeah,
I'm like doing the live tweet.
Soul Assassin has a good question.
I'll say hello to the chat in a little bit, but as we normally do, since we're talking ones and twos, Orange Chat, let everybody know where they can find you, all that fun stuff. And which of the two do you, I guess, subjectively prefer? One or
yeah, one or two. You could find me here on her channel twice a month for the ones and twos. Tuesdays, I do my theme reviews, which are now essentially versus streams again. I'm doing originals versus reboots, which is going to kind of fit into the singles as well, because tomorrow we are doing My Bloody Valentine, the original, and next week we're doing My Bloody Valentine, the reboot. But Tuesdays, I actually discuss both of them, break them down into 7 or 8 categories, and actually do a counter of which one has the better. Yesterday, I did Fantastic Four versus Fan Four Stick, and it wasn't a clean sweep. There is elements of Fan Four Stick that are actually better than the original. Well, it's not the original, but you know what I mean. And next week is Fright Night versus Fright Night. 80s versus
personal subjective. That one is a clean sweep.
Yeah. But I will be using objective analysis on it. But also Thursdays is the singles. Fridays is Orange Hat Uncensored, around 10 or 10 p.m. to around close to midnight. Also, Sundays is the weekly recap. I will have guests on a couple times, maybe here and there. If you want to join the recap to give your guys' thoughts on the topics that I talk about, all you got to do is just hit me up on Twitter and ask, man. It's that simple. I allow anybody and everybody on my channel. And yeah. So other than that, recently hit 1,500 subs. So now I'm just focused on getting the last like 300 or 400 hours on watch time. And then I still won't be able to monetize until 2025 anyway. So just getting to the watch time is what I really need right now. If my channel grows past 1,500, that's awesome. But other than that, as for which one do I prefer the first one in its fullest context with the re-edit. The unrated edition has alternative takes as well as alternative dialogue, and the re-edited version that I have actually puts in the Rise of the Lycan scenes that are part of the memory scenes that Speedman has in this movie. So that was actually pretty cool. But yeah. I got it from Vudu, so I'm guessing it's a Vudu thing. So if you watch it on Movies Anywhere, because if I watch it on Vudu, it doesn't have the re-edit. If I watch it on Movies Anywhere, because I got it on Vudu, it has the re-edit. And it's like, what the fuck?
I don't know. It's just weird. It's just
Wait,
weird.
I think I know why. It's because Amazon doesn't do 4K. I don't think. Because I've tried I used to get movies on 4K.
It's only SD, standard def, high def, or ultra high def.
Ultra high def is 4K, so yeah.
So some movies are ultra high def, but this one, and like I'll be sharing my screen. This one is just either standard def or high def.
Yeah, so then they probably wouldn't have you need the ultra high def. I do believe in order to get the re-edit. I might be mistaken though.
And I don't recall seeing an option for that. Even like renting or purchasing. But anyway, So from the top I see Trey, ready for a lit discussion. Yeah. Gravy D says happy Valentine's Day, lurking like a Lycan tonight. Yep. Vanya, what is up? Yes. I think pickup lines are kind of cringe, but it says if you were a Transformer, you'd be Optimus fine.
Cute.
It's handy to have my library card because I'm totally checking you out. At best, I'll laugh at them. But at worst, I'll be like, just say
try
hi.
harder.
At that point. Just say hi. Hello, Conroy. Yes, this is my Discord. I created a Discord server, so I do. Okay, like every other Friday or thereabouts, do watch parties because I have voice channels. So last watch party we did, I'm trying to think. What did I choose to watch? I can't remember. I know like one day was Happy Gilmore and Predator double feature, but that's when Carl Weathers passed away, when the news broke that he passed away.
I just finished
Evil Dead
watching
2.
the ramp or
Evil Dead 2
the
because I had to pick a short movie, so Evil Dead 2 is what we watched.
I just finished watching the Rocky movies on my birthday, the day he died. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I hear it on the second. It's like, oh, that's bullshit. Because I saw it on Lorraine and she's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, no, that's bullshit. So I looked it up and it's like, oh, shit, it's not bullshit.
Yeah. It is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, did you guys seriously go to a store and just buy the cheesiest freaking Valentine's cars?
Hello, Keely. Good to see you. Underworld is kind of a love story. Yep.
It's a Romeo and Juliet with vampires and werewolves.
Yeah. Speaking of love and blood, Wolf Moon by Typo Negative, the greatest love song of all time. I'd have to listen to that. Mr. Bentham, hello. Mike Hill, member message for 26 months. I enjoyed Underworld movies except the last one. Like I said, I have not seen the last one. I just remember, like I said, number 4, and that's only because of the giant Lycan, which I'm like, okay, even that's a stretch. This is a movie of full of vampires and Lycans and like werewolves, pretty much. I'm like, even that's a stretch.
It's a fucking super juiced one, but yeah.
Yeah. First movie was badass. Came out before the vampire genre got played out with Twilight. Well, I don't think the vampire genre got played out with Twilight. It just got
sparkly.
It got tainted. Let's put it that way. It got tainted a little bit with sparkly vampires. Underworld. Oh, there's an Underworld animated film. Nice, Old Assassin.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of animated chapters too, or animated episodes of it.
So, team Lycan or vampire?
Lycans.
Honestly, I'd have to go with Lycan because, I know in this one it's a virus primarily, but both. Like you live a long time.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think like Lycan's just because I could go out during the day. Like I'm not relegated to only being awake at night.
And the older you get, you can actually learn to control your transformation. Where if you're a vampire, you're fucked. You're stuck. You're stuck at night unless you get a Corvinus injection.
Yeah, so I have to go with Team Lycan.
Yeah.
Final 2 aren't worth watching. The first 3 are great. I'll have to go back and watch the last 2 at least.
I thought the fourth one was okay because it actually expanded the lore a little bit. The problem with the entire series is the inconsistency with creature effects. Yeah. But yes, I do agree that the last 4, or the last 2 rather, are steps down from the trilogy.
I don't know if we can get a better actress to portray Selene either. Then Selene, incidentally, that name means moon.
Mm-hmm.
So. And Craven. Now I don't know if these names are there's purpose behind the names necessarily, or all the names necessarily, but Craven spelled with the C means cowardly.
And his is spelled with a K, so
yeah. So it kind of fits with the character. He's kind of a coward.
Yeah.
Can't top the 80s Fright Night. Yes, you need 80s Fright Nights. Give it a chance, Michael. I mean, I don't know how well you like horror movies or not. But the one from 1985, I think is worth the watch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can't see the poster because it's up above the Big Trouble in Little China one.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can raise it just my camera's a little bit so you can see. Hit my mic.
Yeah.
But there it is. Worth the watch. Worth. It's not that long too, and it's pretty quick. When I say it's pretty quick, I mean it's they don't go full into any exposition or anything like that. It's more this is the movie. Here it is.
Yeah.
So, hey CT, good to see you.
And most of the exposition of this movie, the narratives by Celine, actually do a good job at explaining rules and lore and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the unrated edition, because it's a full like 15 to 12 to 15 minutes extended because of its unrated content. They also make sure to put more
the version
scenes
I
in.
watched today was 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Yeah, that's
but I did not see any difference in the memory, like the memory sequences.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing if I watch that version, that would be like kind of like the extra 1 or 2 minutes or something like that.
No, I would have the with the re-edited footage from Rise of the Lycans. The one thing they don't change is the audio.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still hearing the audio from the original version memory.
Okay.
And but you are the version that I have. You are seeing the Rise of the Lycan footage.
Okay. I might have to try to find it on YouTube or something, because it didn't look.
Yeah.
So I was watching it today. So that way I could rent it and I'd still have it for this evening.
Yeah, actually, gonna see if because I have movies also on my YouTube. So wonderful thing about, or I'm gonna do a selfless plug to Vudu, folks. If you do get a movie library or if you use Vudu for buying movies and whatnot, use Vudu, and also make sure that you check your features, because if you do, you can also, when you buy it on Vudu, link it with your YouTube channel, link it with Movies Anywhere as well, because some of the movies that you get on Vudu may not have the special features, but Movies Anywhere will have the special features. Also, it will mirror over to the movie on YouTube, where it's just the movie. So I'm actually going to search right now to see if I have it on my...
So, hola, Michael. Yeah, Suicide Squad game was dead before Arrival. Now it's definitely dead. Hey, Charlie, Roddy McDowell was great in the 80s version of Fright Night. Yes, he was. Peter Vincent. The one AMC is... that's the theatrical cut. 2 hours and 2 minutes. That's like basically the theatrical cuts. The unrated, the version I watch, is like an extra 10 to 11 minutes.
Yeah.
So... well, she wasn't Van Helsing, but she wasn't a vampire chick in Van Helsing. It did have... Dracula did have vampires, but she herself was human. So
definitely got to turn it down. This is the unrated version, so let's...
But anyway, let me just share my screen. Okay, and I like how... so... hey, Cowman, Musha, hello. So I like how this one does have exposition, particularly at the beginning, but I like how it's in depth enough and brief enough that it gives you a foundation to go off of. So when the action starts, it's as soon as Celine is done narrating, the movie just picks up right from there. So it gives you a perspective on, okay, here's this point in time between the vampires and lycans. How long has it been going? How long has it been going on? What the vampires have been doing, what the lycans have been doing, and so forth. It gives you enough perspective that you're not lost. You're not wondering what's going on, essentially. And pretty much that we find out that there has been basically a steady targeting of lycans, because they're basically implying that lycans are all but extinct for the past 600 years, ever since this in particular, ever since their leader Lucian died.
Yep.
So we were finding out that there's a war between vampires and lycans, aka werewolves. and that the werewolves themselves, the lycans, have been pretty much hunted to extinction. So it's so basically, like, it's like it didn't pit the audience member exactly as team vampire or lycan, but like you're coming from Celine's perspective, so you're kind of at least initially
team vampire at first.
Yeah, like you're kind of initially team vampire because she's narrating it, or she has the first lines and she has the last lines in the movie. So it's basically, this movie is from her perspective, almost. So she like gives it, a little, like, the audience just enough. That's been like past several hundred years up to present day, pretty much, to give you an idea of how long it's been going on. And she's a death dealer.
Yep.
I love that they actually have kind of like those roles, even amongst their clans, pretty much.
Yep.
Because even Craven's even referred to as a bureaucrat. Pretty much.
You got the warriors and the bureaucrats, and then you also have the lavish, just the fucking lazy asses that just sit around and smoke cigarettes all day in the mansion.
Yeah, because like at one point, Victor,
socialites.
We'll talk about the characters. Victor, who is one of the elders, basically, like, just without going into full detail, the way the covens work is that every so many centuries, every like 200 years, I believe, as Victor says, the elder that's leading the covens, the elder that's awake, goes to sleep and wakes up the next elder. So basically, they kind of rotate.
Yeah,
like
every
that.
century.
Yeah, So it's right now, Amelia she's the elder that's awake, and Victor and Marcus are asleep. And technically, Marcus is the one that should have been awakened, but Selena, later on in the movie, awakens Victor. And the reason why she awakens Victor is because he's the one that turned her.
She's extremely loyal to him.
Yes,
sort of like a sire bond, but not complete devotion. Well, complete devotion, but it's willing. If you've seen Vampire Diaries, you know what I mean by sire bond.
Yes. And she and two other death dealers, are watching lycans, and she kind of notices, or at least later on, that they're following someone.
Yeah.
And you can't really see, it's not exactly clear. I don't know if I can go. No, I'll just go back. But these two here are the lycans. And this one right here
is Reyes.
Yeah, Reyes, who is like he was almost like physically and vocally bred to be a lycan.
I mean, when I heard his voice, I'm like, dude, that's some pretty cool effects for his voice. Then I saw him in Congo, the movie Congo, where he plays one of the soldiers at the airport, and it's like, oh shit, he's not, or that's his actual fucking voice. And it's like, holy shit, dude, he has one of the coolest fucking voices ever in existence. But yeah,
and we learn later on in Rise of the Lycans that he's as old or nearly so as Lucian.
Yeah, Lucian's around the same time Lucian little older. Lucian's like maybe 50 to 80 years older than Reyes. The one thing that they really do not do well in these movies, folks, is consistency with time. Where they say in this movie it's 14 centuries, meaning they've been going about this whole thing at like freaking since 600 AD. So then in the next one, you get like 1200 AD, and it seems that he had just turned Victor and Amelia and got the army to go after William. So there are some wicked inconsistencies with time. And also one of the things I do like is the design of the werewolves. Patrick Tatopoulos did an excellent job with
he's one of the best practical effects. Like
when it's dark and gritty,
effects working pretty much, because he also worked on Stargate. So he did the makeup practical effects for Stargate as well. And he was is anyone I don't know if anyone has like the Sci-Fi Channel, or even if it's still on, but the show Face Off, where they bring in
Oh
teams
shit,
of
that's
like
right. I do believe he was in that. Yeah.
He was a judge.
Yeah.
He was one of the judges.
But he also did the Godzilla effects for the 1998 Zilla.
Which I will reiterate, if you watch it just as like a giant monster movie, it's still not objectively good, but it's like, it's fun to watch. I just can't watch it as a Godzilla movie.
Yeah. That's why I own it.
Yeah, so question, do you all think if Marcus was awakened like he was supposed to, he would have still sought to release his brother? No, I don't think so. I think the fact that the blood from Singe is what awakened him is basically what drove him to seek to release his brother, because he's getting all the memories from Singe and things like that. That's what happens when elders are awakened. Is the elder that's awakening the next elder basically imbues that elder with memories, like what's been happening the past century, pretty much. So he's pretty much getting bombarded with all these memories, which drives his anger.
And not only that, he's also having or being imbued with Lycan DNA, which makes him a 90-10 hybrid.
Yes. Yeah, it's and I also, and we'll be talking about this when we talk about Underworld too, and that is when he bites his victims, he's taking the memories from them as well, because he bites Craven, he gets Craven's memories. Yep. He bites the other vampire later on. I can't remember his name, but he gets his memories. Yeah, so that's how he's he's piecing events together, and from that point on, it's all about releasing his brother, who is the werewolf, the first Lycan. So you have,
which in Rise of the Lycans, they actually changed the wording, because Lycans are, after Rise of the Lycans are the hybrid of human and werewolf, where William's pestilence is werewolves pure.
Yeah. So, and Corvinus, this is a little bit of trivia that I just read, the name Corvin, right, derived from Corvinus, which is what's basically driving these Lycans to follow certain humans. The Corvinus bloodline, which is Marcus and William's bloodline, is most likely a reference to Matthias Corvinus of Hungary, who was an ally of Vlad Tepes, the inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula. So that name holds, my uncle's name is Corvin. Yeah. So it comes most likely derived from Corvinus.
And it's funny because in this, or you don't see him in this movie, but there is a human faction which is led by Corvinus. Because otherwise, how would you explain to the world vampires and werewolves just fucking open shootout in the middle of a train station?
Yeah, I know.
But what you don't realize is there is a faction behind the scenes that cleans it up, which is explained in the second movie. Which,
I'm fine if they don't show it in this movie. I like the explanation in the second movie. But basically, there's a shootout that happens. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, it's like within the next couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yep, right here.
So I'm just going to play just a little bit, because they're following Scott Speedman's character, Michael.
Yep.
Michael Corvin.
Yep. Hit the 10 forward, right there. And we're about
I
to
love,
like,
Ray stops.
Yep. And he's like, something's amiss here. Then he spots one of the vampires and then just starts shooting.
Just starts shooting, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like, blood! It's like, holy shit, dude.
I love this movie, so this, forgive this joke, but when he yelled bloods, I was like, so that make the Lycans the Crips?
Right.
Universe.
Holy shit. I mean, what would they call them? Beasts? I don't know.
I don't know. He says blood. So my first thought when I'm rewatching this movie now is like, so that makes the Lycans the Crips.
Right. But also if you notice in this scene, when Kevin Grievous and Kate Beckinsale are shooting their weapons, they're not blinking. they had to go through rigorous training to stop themselves from blinking because they didn't want to go the sunglasses route, like Terminator, The Matrix, and all them. They wear the sunglasses to stop them from blinking because otherwise they're like all the time. And so they train them when she's firing off her full auto pistols. She's not blinking, which is so freaking great. It shows that these people have been around guns, know the guns very well. But if you go into the behind the scenes, you realize she doesn't know those guns very well. I mean, she got bitched at.
That's acting, folks.
Yeah, she got bitched at behind the scenes because she started dancing around with the guns in her hand loaded. And it's like, no.
No.
And she's like, sorry, I just felt like a little ballerina. It's like, just don't do that again.
YouTube, I'm going to play this just a little bit. I have no sound. I just want people to see the Lycan transformation.
Yeah.
Because basically, it's like skipping the shootout, and we find out they're trying to take that human. We don't know why they're trying to take the human, basically Michael's character. But they try to take him. They're unable to do so because they're getting shot by the death dealers. So they had to escape into the sewers, basically down the tracks into the sewers. And Celine is chasing one. And another vampire is chasing Reyes. And to the point where, basically it was an incredibly quick standoff. The transformation took longer, but I love the transformation that we see Reyes go through. Yeah,
because we see practical effects mixed with this small bit here after she plays it again. Yeah. This is the only digital part of the thing here.
Yeah.
And you're now seeing a person or a man in a suit. That's what I loved about this. They brought back the man in a suit.
Yes.
Now, do they have digital effects in the movie? Yes.
Some of my favorite Lycan effects. Some of my favorite werewolf effects, pretty much. And Lycans are a threat to vampires. Particularly because, it's, again, with the exposition, they've now learned how to change at will, so they're not beholden to the moon or anything, or like the moon's sway. And there's a level of animosity, we find out later on what the animosity is, but we also are told at some point that at one point Lycans were the guardians of vampires. Pretty much, they were pretty much slaves.
Oh,
they were the daytime guardians for vampires.
Yep.
And yes, they made anti-vampire bullets. Basically, they kind of took military grade weapons. I think you're frozen, Orange. Just so you know.
Oh, okay. So that was probably my end because you roboted too.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's my end.
So basically, they kind of stole military tech, but tailored it to be anti-vampire. So basically they harnessed literally the power of the sun in a bullet. So if a vampire gets hit by it, they're burned from the inside. And the Lycans have also become strong enough that if they are able to pull the silver bullets out in time, they do not die. It used to be in werewolf lore that is shot by a silver bullet, they're dead, pretty much.
Any sort of silver damage from something silver can kill a werewolf in the original lore.
Kill them. Now they've evolved to where it's yes, it's painful, and if not removed, they will die. However, if they remove it quickly enough, because you see at one point the other Lycan who's being chased by Celine pull a bullet out of his chest. It's burning him, but he pulls it out of his chest.
His shoulder. It's
so it's right here.
And then he's holding it, and you can hear a sizzle and see the smoke, and then he drops it.
Yeah. So it still has an effect on him, but it doesn't have the immediate effect that we are normally used to with werewolf.
Prevents him from making the change. Yeah, it prevents him from making the change.
Yeah. So, and so, which basically, I love how it causes the death dealers to have to evolve their bullets as well. So basically, creates bullets with silver nitrate.
Yep.
So once it enters the Lycan's body, it goes into the bloodstream.
There's nothing to dig out.
There's nothing to dig out. So I kind of like basically they take the mythos of vampires and werewolves, add enough science into the mix with the virus, right? And just enough crazy action for it to be all believable. So I still believe that it's a vampire werewolf film. And let's talk about Lucian. We're not going to talk about like necessarily every scene, but before, because we think we see the Lycans first before like we get to the coven, because she hears a noise. So let's talk about Lucian and the Lycans. We find out this is Lucian.
Yeah. However, we don't know that this is him in the beginning because they said that Lucian is dead. We just know that this guy is a leader of them.
Yeah, but at some point we find out that he is Lucian because he's wearing a necklace that matches a drawing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we find out later on. So for all intents and purposes, we're just gonna say this is Lucian the Lycans. So he is the leader of the Lycans. He's basically covertly rebuilding the ranks of the Lycans.
Yeah, he's building another horde. And because we're only doing 1s and 2s for this, I mean, unless she wants to do a third or in the week, but that's up to you if you want to do Rise of the Lycans. But basically, this is a guy who has every reason to hate vampires due to what they did to him. I mean, Rise of the Lycans shows it all. He was enslaved and treated horribly. And that whipping scene, pretty fucking brutal. But yes, he doesn't want to go to war with them. He wants Victor dead, but he is essentially willing to live in peace with the vampires backing off, which is why there is a conspiracy in this movie between Craven and Lucian.
Yes. Yeah, so basically his war, I'm using that word loosely, because the war we find out later was started by Victor. The actual war between the vampires and the Lycans. But Lucian's war, so to speak, is really just with Victor. Like he even says at one point, he even took a vampire for his bride. So he harbored them. He harbored the vampires as a whole, no ill will.
Yeah.
Hey, Bradley. Yeah,
because he says this is his war, Victor's, and he has spent the last 600 years exterminating my species. So it's basically telling you all that this is a man who has basically been fighting the war because he has no choice. But at the time, in Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, it wasn't just his Lycans that was part of the war. It was also William's pestilence that he had control over because they were able to see something in him that was similar to them.
Yeah.
In a way, he was actually evolving William's kind because they actually started standing on 2 feet in that movie. We see it. But
so I might show it, but I might show it maybe as like a watch party versus like talking about it on my Discord. But that is, I think, a movie worth watching. Yes, it's very much inconsistent timeline wise because like there hasn't been consistency with that. But at the same time, for a prequel movie because it's set before the before the events of the first one, I enjoyed it. And one of the most interesting sex scenes ever in film.
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights. I could never do that with my girlfriend.
Yeah, I was like, it's one of the most interesting sex scenes at all. If you have not seen it, I'll do a watch party and you'll see that scene.
Yeah, but you get the time that's inconsistent, but also the creature effects that are inconsistent with each movie. Because in the second movie, the Lycans are hairier. Now, if the third movie never came out, you could argue that the Lycans you see in the second movie are furrier because, well, they are William's Pestilence.
Yeah.
But then the third movie came out, and William's Pestilence looks like William, which is more of a wolf look.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So like inconsistencies aside, like I said, it is a decent third. Yeah. Like it is a good, like it is like a good addition to this franchise.
Yes. I mean, I absolutely love how they went with they went no hair or very little hair because they wanted to show off the musculature. They wanted to show off the definition of the body. And my God, if you go behind the scenes for this, folks, you notice that the people who were in the suits, like Rich Citrone, who plays one of the guys that he's talking to here.
Let me see if I can get
just hit play for a second. And the guy on the left, which is Rich Citrone, who also plays in the Snyder Cut movies as one of the Kryptonians that got launched up into the weird thing with the giant penises. But anyway, this dude also goes into the suits. He's one of the suit performers for this movie as well.
And like since I didn't like play the whole scene, the reason why they're bloody is pretty much is because like while they were in Lycan form, they were like basically like underground fighting.
Yep.
So Lucian comes in. And I love
his introduction.
Like you're behaving like a pack of rabid dogs.
Yep.
Like he basically just like screams dogs. Like that's like basically a slur.
Yep. You're acting like a pack of rabid dogs. And that, gentlemen, simply will not do.
I love like Michael Sheen's performance as.
But it also brings a level of consistency because in the third movie, he tells the others when they're fighting over the food, he's like, "We are not animals."
Yeah.
Because when he goes about it in this scene, after that movie provides a little bit more context, he is basically telling them, we are not playthings, we are not pets, we are not animals. We are lycans, and this is not how we act. We are more sophisticated than this.
So
it's a great error. It's basically
I wouldn't say racial slur, but it does imply that it's derogatory.
Demeaning.
Yes, demeaning, derogatory.
Because he's basically telling them, you want to be an animal, or do you want to be a lycan?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
So Michael Sheen was perfect for the role. Yes, like he's
very much. Yes,
he and Kate Beckinsale were actually in a long-term relationship.
Oh shit! At
this point, and then she met her future husband, Len Weissman.
Oh shit!
Movie.
Holy shit, man!
Kate Beckinsale do have a daughter together. They've
Oh my god! Really?
So basically, Kate Beckinsale left Michael Sheen to marry Len Weissman, and they have since divorced.
Oh my god, that is fucking hilarious! It's like,
yeah,
dude, you met on set. You like taking direction so well that you fucking married him and you dumped him, and it's oh my fucking god!
Yeah,
how did they work together?
Soap opera. Like a little bit of a soap opera storyline, pretty much.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they were people during filming and separated, and then Kate Beckinsale began dating Len Weissman, so she met her future husband while filming this, while still with Michael Sheen. Yeah. They broke up, and
and then there's the scene in freaking Underworld 2, and it's like, yeah, treat her right, Speedman, or the director's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
But watching these movies with the audio commentary is very hilarious, folks. By the way, especially the second one, because they talk about digital willy removal and shit.
I'm trying to get they're very much decadent.
Yeah, the decadence of their go back 10, play it here. or no, go back another 10. And play it here a little bit. There you go. You can see the decadence of the coven. How they're all just lounging around, not really doing anything. I mean, this is, or I love when Victor wakes up later. He's like, this coven has grown weak, decadent.
Yeah.
And I always thought, when I saw this movie at first, I always thought decadent to mean like decrepit, except that it's not decrepit. It actually means, or it basically means complacent, essentially.
Yeah, it's just basically complacent.
There's nothing to further them. There's nothing to give them any further ambition or to keep them in fighting shape.
Yeah, so like this, like so we see the definitive lines between like within this coven, because you have these like vampires who don't do anything other than lounge about whenever they wake up, pretty much, and then the death dealers. And since like we're talking about the death dealers, now we'll talk about Celine. Let me see if I can get it.
And there's Craven, and there's
so this
Khan.
Is Khan. Yep. He's basically the tech guys. That Celine's motivation has been vengeance.
Yes.
Like once she became vampire death dealer, she hasn't stopped.
Yep, she was led to believe that the werewolves had killed her family, her sister, her father, her mother, even her twin nieces, who were barely 6 years old. I think it was. I think
one of the let me see, one of the girls in that flashback scene when like she's talking, like when when it says
you hear, or you
during
can hear
during a flashback of when Celine was younger, like the daughter that she and Michael Sheen have, she's in the flashback. So one of those characters.
Oh yeah, the childhood, her childhood memories.
Yeah, her childhood memories. One of them is her daughter.
Yeah,
her real life daughter.
And I love how in this scene you basically see that this dude is Craven is doing his best to not use his or Shane Broly is doing his best not to use his accent, but he can't because it keeps slipping.
It keeps slipping. Like I know him primarily from Snatch. I believe he's in Snatch.
I've seen him in a Sci-Fi Channel movie, and that was it. I think it was about giant mosquitoes and malaria.
So yeah, but like he's
and these movies obviously.
He does have an obvious accent. Like I'm with Ray. They should just let him use his accent.
That a mangy animal developed a bullet specifically targeted to, or specifically built to, or engineered to target vampires. And it's like, no, it's like, dude, either that's Scotch or Irish. Your brogue slipped.
Yeah. It's like, and like that's when Khan says, no, but it's definitely military grade. Like they stole the technology and just harnessed it to use against vampires.
And then we learn in the second movie where they've been getting it.
Yeah. So basically, Khan was right, and essentially, when he says, "I'm betting it's military," like basically they just stole it. But
and it wasn't even the Lycans that stole it.
No. So let's see if
it's a certain vampire that stole it.
Yeah. See if I can get a shot. But anyway, so we have to talk about obviously Celine, because she is the driving force, literally, behind this movie. Because she's going through the pictures, she notices that the Lycans are following a human, and she even notices that the Lycan tries taking one of the humans during the subway shootout. Then she discovers the type of bullets they're using. Third, she hears what sounds like a large number of Lycans underground. She doesn't see them, but she hears them, and she believes there's a good number of them. She says maybe even hundreds.
Yeah.
And from that point on, her focus is basically figuring out what's going on.
Yeah, she wants to know what's going on, and she wants to ensure that the Coven is safe.
and just about at every turn, she's impeded by Craven in one way or another. Like when she wants to when she wants to go back out and where she thinks the Lycans are, like Craven says, no, I'm sending Soren, pretty much. Like he sends basically other vampires to go check it out. Soren, that we find out, is in league with Craven.
Yeah.
He's part of the conspiracy, so that's the reason why Craven picks him.
Yeah, because he knows that Soren will go out, but he's also basically just going to go out and basically just hang around outside of the gates, just out of eye shot from everybody else.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, just go out, drive around, and fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
But also, funny thing, the guy who plays Soren is the one who trains Kate Beckinsale for this movie. He used to be a bodyguard person. She's like, oh, thank God you're here. They were going to put me up with this martial arts bodyguard type that's so fucking arrogant. And he's like, Kate, that's me. I mean, you watch, again, folks, I stress, watch the special features for this film. You get some good laughs. I mean, these guys were all just having fun making this film, and they show it behind the scenes.
I love it. Do you remember the chick in the background? Her name,
Erica.
I don't remember what her character's name is, but she's
Erica.
pretty much primarily there. Like she is the epitome of notice me senpai. That's pretty much that's pretty much her character. Because it's one of those. She wants Craven. Craven wants Selene. Selene wants nothing to do with Craven, pretty much. And that's pretty much this character, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, she wants Craven because she even, or after Selene walks off to go to this area, she goes up to Craven. I'd never dream of talking to you like that. Of course you wouldn't. And so Craven just doesn't want to freaking notice her. It's like she's basically like freaking Trunks from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Notice me.
Yeah, no.
No.
It's like that gif of I think it's like CM Punk where it's like he's screaming, "Pay attention to me!" That's like literally, it's pretty much her. I think she wants power, but she also is like wants Craven, and but Craven wants Selene.
I mean, there's a scene later on where she actually helps Selene escape, and she's like, "Why are you helping me? I'm not. I'm helping me."
Yeah, because she knows, like, at that point, since we're jumping ahead, basically, she knows if, like, Selene escapes, Selene's going to have, like, basically a death warrant on her, because she's defied. Yeah. She's defied, like, basically the orders of an elder to stay in the house, and, like, you do not do that.
Yeah, and it's like, then when shit goes to pot for Craven's like, I need you to do something for me. So she gets him she gets his gun and she tries to slide in with him. He shoves her out the fucking door.
Yeah.
And drives off. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, this woman just wants to be with fucking Craven so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my fucking God, dude, don't you fucking get it?
Mm-hmm. Well, to be fair to her, I think she did, like, remember, she did go to Selene first to tell her, I noticed he was, like, Michael was bitten.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, the thing is, in this, or in the full unrated, she tells him first, I do believe. And then he goes after, or I think that is it, yeah. I watched this yesterday, so I'd have to go back again.
Yeah.
But she tries telling her, but it's like, it's forbidden. Well, okay, fine. If you're going to fucking go that route, then I am going to use it to my advantage. Erica wants to climb not corporate ladder, but she wants to be with Craven so bad that she wants to get Selene killed.
Mm-hmm.
But she also is willing to tolerate Selene in some ways as well.
Mm-hmm. So,
but yeah, Sophia Myles also was in a show called Moonlight with the guy that played in Hawaii Five-0. He played in a show where he was a vampire, and I think it only lasted like 1 or 2 seasons. Great show though.
I'm trying to think of like another, like what other show. I mean, they're all. I know like the other shows that were like there were vampires, but I don't know which YA50 star. Because I'm trying to think.
Oh, the guy from that or shit. YA50 cast. I'm trying to remember his damn name.
Like I said, like for those who like tuned in late, Craven.
Alex O'Loughlin. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Craven, when spelled with a C, that's an actual word, means cowardly.
Yep.
So they basically just took the word Craven, which means cowardly, changed it to a K, and makes sense for the character. He's pretty much a coward. Because at one point, Lucian even just admonishes him, and like it's probably like it never occurs to you you'd have to bleed to pull off this little coup of yours.
Yeah. I guess it never occurred to you that you would actually have to bleed to pull off this little coup.
Yes.
And he also freaking
Craven is like, how do I get out of here?
Is there another way out? It's like, is there another way out? Dude, seriously?
Yeah, like Lucian even looks like no, you're fucked. We're all fucked, pretty much.
It's like, I guess you never. It's like, dude, seriously, you're gonna have to fucking put up or shut the fuck up and stay out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I love how
he calls him a pussy in just that like phrase.
I mean, he's also when they meet in the rain and whatnot, he starts yelling at him, and freaking Lucian's like, oh, just grabs him by the throat and says, shut the fuck up, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, calm yourself, dude. The human doesn't concern you. Besides, I've laid low for quite long enough.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get a shot. Well, okay, first off, I'm just like show like this is what they're doing, pretty much.
Yeah. This is the Lycans they're testing blood and whatnot.
They're testing blood because they want, like, basically they're testing blood to see which one has the original Corvinus strain.
Yep.
So they're like basically tracking down every possible descendant living as part of the Corvinus line.
Yep.
And testing their blood to see like which one has that original strain within him.
Yep.
And everyone up to this point has failed, which is why they're trying to find Michael. Michael's pretty much their last hope at this point. And that's why they're tailing him.
Also, I never noticed there was 2 people strung up before.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get So that's Michael.
Yep.
Let's talk about, I think like basically overall, I think Scott Speedman did a decent job.
Yes.
In this role.
Because
like
he's the unknown outsider.
Yeah, he's the unknown outsider. He's pretty much, if you think about it, the audience member thrown into the mix. He's like, like pretty much like the audience perspective on how like crazy it is. Like what's going, like, I'm right in the middle of this. What's going on? Sort of situation. Agent Bells. And he's an intern. Basically, I believe he's an intern, right? Like he went like basically med school.
Bucharest or Budapest.
And he's interning.
Yeah,
he's interning like at this hospital, and he's been like basically find out that he administered first aid to a woman who was shot during the subway shootout. So
and he's being surgery too.
Yeah, he's basically being let go early because he helped with the surgery. He applied first aid and so forth. So he has that like that medical knowledge. And the 2 Lycans we see earlier, Pierce and Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I love I'm like how they were able to obtain police uniforms.
Not just uniforms, but a car. They were actual police.
Yeah. So, and
integrating into society in order to gain advantage.
Yeah. So, and they use that they used that advantage to question the other intern to find out where Michael was, because they went to the hospital because he was supposed to be on call essentially, and the intern's like, no, he was let go early, and they're saying is in relation to the shootout that occurred, and so the other intern gives them his address, Michael's address, and then I love how the intern calls him like, hey, these two cops came by. Like, I'm giving you a heads up. These two cops came by looking for you. Said that you're wanting a connection to that shootout that occurred. So you hear like that guy leaving a voicemail from Michael while Celine's in Michael's apartment, because Celine somehow tracks him down. So,
yeah, she's her. Yeah. She goes. And we get the shootout there, but also freaking
oh yeah, this is like a show. Like this is the envoy for Amelia. Yeah. So basically, what happens? Like Amelia's on her way, and she's gonna be basically going to sleep for a century and awakening Marcus. Mm-hmm. So.
And apparently, there are two great covens.
Yeah, the decadence of these covens.
I mean, pretty sure that if Victor, or if they never did break the chain, Victor would be like, the hell is this shit?
Okay. I love this scene.
Yes.
Where Lucian basically actually enters the fray because they've been failing left and right to capture Michael and obtain a sample of his blood. So I love how he gets that sample.
Yeah.
I love how he gets that sample. Like, you know, like Lucian is shot, basically. The elevator doors open. Michael's trying to escape. The elevator doors open. Lucian's there and he goes, hello, Michael. Lucian is shot by Celine, and instead of falling backwards, falls forward into the elevator so he can like grab onto Michael. I'm going to play this a little bit, YouTube. Fair use, no sounds. All right. So and then does this.
Can't get it with the needle. Get it with a bite.
Get it with the bite. Because he lets Celine essentially take Michael, and you like see Lucian pull out a vial, spit the blood into the vial. Yep. I love like the change in his eyes.
Oh yeah, those are lenses. They actually had to lead him on set because he's essentially blind with those lenses in.
I believe it. Well, see, the thing is, that's what we were led to believe essentially early on in the film until we get the backstory, the full backstory, and at that point, he ceases to be a villain and is actually the victim. Mm-hmm. And it's actually the victim because he does not want this war. We find out, he does not want this war. Because at this point in the movie, like without knowing what we know later on in the film, it looks like he's has nefarious purposes to him.
Yeah.
But in reality,
he wants the edge trying to make over them.
A perfect blend of vampires and lycans, which was what would have happened if Victor hadn't killed his own daughter. Because the reason why Victor killed his own flesh and blood is because his daughter was carrying the offspring of Lucian. So it would have been a blend of vampire and lycan.
Yep. So basically, essentially, he wants to create what Victor fears most of all. The abomination that was his child, or his and Sonia's child. Mm-hmm. So that's why he is essentially doing what he's doing, because he wanted what they were denied, what they had taken from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to mention, it would also make him potentially the most powerful being out of the entire species.
I wouldn't call Craven a villain. I'd call him an opportunist.
Yes.
Because he saw the opportunity to create an allegiance with the Lycans to subvert the elders.
Well, when you
kill Amelia, because the original plan was to have Amelia killed before she could awaken either Victor or Marcus. No one would be awakened. he'd take over.
Yep. And except that here's the thing. Kidnapping or soul assassin victim that does bad things. It's kidnapping the Corvinus bloodline. He's trying to save his people.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to, or he's tired of being hunted by Victor and his coven. So he wants to put an overpowering edge over them, because once you are half vampire, half Lycan, but stronger than both, say goodbye to your sun, or say goodbye to your sunlight, or to sunlight. If you were a vampire, say goodbye to your sunlight weakness. If you're a werewolf, say goodbye to your silver weakness. They don't have a weakness except a rapid metabolism, which is hinted at in the second movie.
So you wanted to create essentially Blade.
Essentially, yes, but without a half human. Or Blade is a Dampier, which is half human,
vampire, half
vampire.
human. This is basically creating a hybrid of vampire and Lycan. That's the best of both worlds.
Yep. And I like in the next 30 seconds. So hit forward by maybe 30 seconds. Yep, right here. He actually ejects the bullets out of his body that he was shot with. The silver out of his body, which is cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
It's not something that others or other werewolves are known to do. So, but because he is the first Lycan, he is able to do things that they can't. He is the most powerful Lycan, where William's the most powerful werewolf.
And what we didn't exactly cover is why it's believed Lucian is dead, at least at the beginning of the film, and that's because off the word of Craven and a piece of skin cut from Lucian.
Yep.
Branded skin.
And Craven was supposed to,
for Victor, pretty much.
Yeah. It was brought forward as evidence that Lucian was killed.
And I did like how Selene kind of she basically calls Craven out. It's did you actually cut this?
Did you have the nerve to cut the skin from his arm, or did Lucian do it for you? Yeah.
Which I would imagine Lucian did it for him.
And it's luckily you're surrounded by your own entourage, dude, because even they look at him like, what's she saying now?
What you think? We're a pirate, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love this scene where it's he does the kind of
they call it the burping of the bullets.
Well, the burping, but the shameless pulling off his clothes so you could see it pretty much, but you do see the bullets just coming
leaving
out.
His body and the wounds closing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's got one in his forehead, his wrist, and his neck. And then he just goes after him.
I love how he's able to chase the car. Basically, again, I don't think werewolves get enough love in film because they have just as much cool abilities as vampires do, and one of the abilities is they can move incredibly fast.
Yeah. You know how they did that?
You're talking about the scene where he's chasing? There's a I don't know what you call it, but a long sheet or something dragged behind the car, and he was running on that. So basically, that's how he was able to keep up with the car.
Yep. They just dragged a kind of slide-like thing where he just runs along it and then catches up. It's dude, that was done practically. Holy shit. They did most of their effects. You can tell what is digital, but most of their effects in this movie are practical, folks, including the scene, or in this scene where she was chasing after Michael, where you see Lycans crawling on the walls toward her. Those are people in suits crawling along the walls with wires. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a shot of that scene. I remember seeing the right here.
You got to go backward.
No, I think it's
Or
right.
the
See, watch, boom.
oh yeah, that.
So basically, there's something being dragged behind the car, and he's running on. So basically, that like what he's running on is going at the speed of the car, so he's able to run and keep up with the car.
Yep.
So that's the actual. I remember watching that like part of like behind the scenes I watched when it came out, and that is practical effects.
Yeah.
So
I also love how he has the sword arm, or his sword arm, or arm sword with the retractor.
Yeah, like the hidden blade that pops out. Basically, like there's like a mechanism. You just squeeze, the blade comes out.
Yeah. Just.
Yeah, wolves are actually fast, which makes sense. Yeah, like it's like, again, I don't think werewolves get enough love in films, and one of their abilities is they can move incredibly fast. They're not as fast as vampires, but they themselves can move incredibly fast.
And then you get a hybrid later on, and there's a scene that we're gonna have to show you to show just how fucking fast a hybrid is.
Yeah.
Because when freaking Michael shoves Victor out through the wall, you actually see him there when Victor lands. It's like, what the fudge?
Yeah. So we'll get to that. But let's bring up Victor pretty much, because he's again, we find out later, is
not
the
dead,
architect of the war. He's the architect of the war.
Yep, right there.
So played by Bill Nighy. And
his description of what it was like in that makeup is so freaking priceless. It's like, so this person came up to me and it's like, so there's just this kind of zip up the back, is there? No, there's no zip here. That's literally put on him. They needed to sculpt his body. And, well, yeah, old as fuck. Yes, he helped, and he also was in the movie in one scene.
So
Danny McBride, Gigawatt.
Sometimes like comedians are like actually can pull off serious very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Victor's an asshole pretty much.
Victor is not just an asshole, he is a fucking Sith Lord, man. I mean, that you can literally just take his dialogue and put it in another fucking movie with a little bit of tweaks here and there, and it works. Holy crap, it works. And I love how they spell his name. It's Viktor.
Yeah.
Instead of Victor. And also Marcus originally, or his name is Markus instead of Marcus.
So Gigawatt's asking, where was he in the movie?
Danny McBride? He is the one who went to find Amelia after Amelia never showed up.
Okay, so that scene basically.
Yeah. It's like, I need to speak with Khan. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, we touched upon this earlier in the film, but and we find out that not only is Victor the architect of the war, meaning he basically killed his own daughter and had Lucian, who had fallen in love with Victor's daughter, watch his Sonia die, which basically was the driving force behind the rise of the Lycans against the vampires. But also, he slaughtered Celine's family. Because at one point, when Craven is basically giving Celine a hard truth about, he says, let me tell you about your beloved Dark Lord.
Your Dark Father, yeah.
Your Dark Father. Now he's the one that killed your family. Like, he broke the rules. He was tired of feeding off of livestock. He's tired of feeding off of creatures, and he would go out at night and hunt humans, feed off of humans. And he basically went through Celine's family. But once he got to Celine, he said he couldn't bear the thought of draining you dry. You remind him so much of his daughter, Sonia. So instead, Victor turned Celine.
Yeah.
and lied to her, saying that Lycans had killed her family and they had been driven off by Victor and Craven. Because in the second movie, we see
that Craven was also
that Craven was there.
But he didn't know why Victor was killing the family. There's a reason why he went after Celine's family.
We find that out in the second movie, pretty much. But we're just basically sticking with what we know. That time. Yeah, we stick with what we know in this film, and that is Victor slaughtered Celine's family.
Yeah. Or he did it because he didn't want to, or he was sick and tired of, or he never could follow his own rules. He couldn't abide the taste of livestock.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a fucking elder. I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want, essentially, is Victor.
And this, in turn, drives her hatred of Lycan. So basically, when we see her at the beginning of the film, she is obsessed
with killing them.
With exterminating the Lycan race.
She takes pleasure in it as well, because if you see there's one shot in the beginning of the movie where she shoots the guy and then she puts her foot on his chest and just unloads into him as she is as her eyes are going blue.
Mm-hmm.
She's essentially relishing in the joy of killing this Lycan.
Yeah. So, and then I'm gonna see if I can we're not gonna touch on all of the scenes because there's a lot to unpack in this. I'm trying to get.
Oh yeah, we also get to see a little bit of hanky panky between Craven and Erica too.
Yeah, I'm gonna save the memory flashbacks for when Michael fully sees the flashback because up to this point it's just bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm. He's getting bits and pieces here and there. He also starts changing after the Lycans grab him, which is Pearson Taylor. This is the confession scene of the interrogation of Singe.
Yeah. So he's basically confessing why they've been trying to track down Michael, what's been going on. And at one point Singe even drops the name Lucian.
Yep. Once Lucian has injected himself.
Yeah.
Now this scene is actually alternative to what the theatrical scene is, because they really chop it down in the theatrical scene. But in this scene, you get a much more cohesive dialogue with Singe, where he's explaining, or where he starts in the theatrical, it's actually the tail end of what he is saying to them. It's like, for years we've been trying to combine the bloodlines, and for years we have failed. That came after he actually was talking about Corvinus. They actually flipped the script a little bit.
Yeah.
Where he's talking about, we've been looking for a specific person, somebody who is a direct descendant of Alexander Corvinus, Hungarian warlord who came to power in the early seasons of the 5th century, just in time to watch a plague ravage his village. But he alone survived, meaning his body shaped the disease and molded it to his benefit, and he became the first true immortal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which plays into the trivia where Corvinus actually comes from an actual ally, Hungarian ally of Vlad Tepes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, folks, I know this movie well enough to freaking recite it line by line.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he then describes, in the unrated edition, he describes the triple platelet, which is how there is able to be a union between the bloodlines, but it needs the viral strain of the Corvinus line, which is an atavism essentially in the humans. And that's when Victor says, the sons of Corvinus clan, one bitten by bat, one by wolf, one to walk the lonely road of mortality as a human. So yes, Alexander Corvinus had 3 children, 2 who had the immortality gene and the viral gene, and 1 who had a recessive gene that carried throughout, or that basically lay dormant, which becomes an atavism later on.
Which, again, is why they need
Michael.
Michael's the key.
Yep.
Because when they tested his blood, it was positive, meaning it didn't reject anything. It was the perfect blend.
Yep. It allowed the union between the two species.
Yes.
So they found the right guy, but then they needed to, or he's like, there's a descendant of Corvinus lying there, and he points to Marcus's crypt, not 3 feet from you. Yes, but he was already a vampire. We needed a pure source, untainted, the Corvinus strain itself.
Yes.
And obviously, we couldn't go after Corvinus because, well, he's just a little bit too well protected. I love that. They don't say that, but it's like they could go after Corvinus, but I doubt they'd get him.
They doubt they would have gotten close.
Yeah.
It's a virus, pretty much. So
it was a viral plague.
Yeah.
Which back then it's called simply a plague, but in modern science, all these plagues are derived from viruses. So yeah.
Yes. So.
And I love how they show Victor's strength in this, where he freaking just rips open Singe's face after punching him.
Yeah, I love like
right here.
My war.
Yep, it's like your war has nothing to do with me. My war.
and
that's when he sees everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it like you could.
Well, we're in the memory now, so.
Yeah, I just want to the start of the memory.
Yeah, right there.
Now, again, fair use YouTube, no sounds. All right, I'm like stopping it periodically. But now
this is the original footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the original footage where they actually had slaves looking in and seeing it, where in Rise of the Lycans, it was just him and Sonya. And that guy's cracking a silver whip that is silver all the way up and down the shaft of it. Where
yeah, you kind of see a flash of, oh shit, come on.
Right there, yeah. And you see Victor and his council. And it's like,
yeah.
But yeah, this dude, make sure you pause.
Yeah, so basically, the woman is Sonya, that's Victor's daughter. Yeah. And she's tied like that because, like, when the sun comes up, it was like hit right there. That's how she's killed.
It's an execution pier.
Yeah.
Or a burning pier for witches, but in this case, vampires.
Yeah, so basically, like, he, again, kills his own daughter because he so feared the abomination growing inside her, the blend of Lycan and vampire. So not only is she strung up to be executed, she was watching her love being whipped right in front of her, and then he in turn has to watch her die right in front of him.
It's to inflict the most pain.
Sadistic.
Yep. It's to inflict the most pain upon both of them. She's going to die in despair. He's going to watch and live in despair as he sees her die.
Yeah.
And then he was going to die himself because Victor was originally going to kill him. But unfortunately, or fortunately for Lucian, he is able to escape. I mean, they really, in the Rise of the Lycans movie, they carved into his back hard in one scene.
You do see it kind of here, see?
Yeah. I mean, that's light compared to what they show in the other one, folks.
Yeah, so I might do a watch party for Rise of the Lycans.
Definitely.
So, like, anybody who hasn't seen it. But, like, it is a prequel to Underworld.
Yeah.
So.
And so then they open up the skip forward 10. And again.
There it is.
Looking up, and there you go.
Sunlight comes in. There it is. So again, like nothing Lucian could have done.
Yeah, he has to see the love of his life slowly die. In this version, however, in Rise of the Lycans, it's much more immediate. And he's now injecting himself with Michael's blood, and he's waiting for the delivery of Amelia, in which we're gonna have to go a little bit backward to see that.
Well,
but yeah.
So I was just like, then the memory continues.
Mm-hmm.
We see that like the necklace was Sonia's. The necklace that Lucian is wearing was Sonia's that he takes from Victor, because Victor takes it off of Sonia's dead body. Lucian escapes and grabs and swipes the necklace, or swipes the necklace and then escapes.
Yep.
But he turns because not only have you, like, he's in despair, you have now pissed him off.
And also, there's a full moon out.
There's a full moon, so he got lucky there.
Yeah.
All right, so he's still, because this is this point where he was still beholden to the moon. He turns and escapes.
Yeah.
See, that's the necklace that you see him wearing throughout the movie.
Yep.
So you see, he starts to turn.
Also, have you ever noticed how Bill Nye uses his hands? He tucks his fingers in a lot in this movie.
I can see that. Yeah, I see that. Notice it a little bit. I don't know if there's just a mannerism on like his part or something he like incorporated into the character. Sort of
I also think he may have minor Tourette's because he also has a lot of tics that you notice in the second movie, really. But yeah he is turning thanks to the full moon, because actually at that time he's able to change at will himself. But the full moon just basically gave him enough of a boost for it.
Yeah. So he went. So went after Victor, grabbed it, and then escaped before they could kill him. So.
And that's when he basically tells him the truth. It's like, we were slaves, and I took her for my bride, loved her, cherished her. Victor feared it too much, and he then ordered her dead. Yeah. And
basically, like, from this point on,
it's
that's where hell breaks loose.
Yeah,
like war.
But there's in the theatrical, you don't see him really revive until he tries to stop Craven. But in this movie, you actually do see him after he got shot with the silver nitrate. You actually see him trying to change in that scene where you see his hand and he's like, not yet. But yeah.
So I'm trying to get to
the hybridization.
Yeah, the hybridization.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, Reyes gets killed by Victor. But yeah. Bite him.
Okay.
This is the
so basically, this is what you're talking about. Your dark father.
Yeah. You're essentially just
a reminder. And Lucian stabs him to stop him. And he goes,
Can you imagine that going through your shin bone?
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit. And half vampire, half Lycan, but stronger than both.
Yeah, Victor was an elder vampire along with Marcus. Marcus was the original, the first, but Victor and Amelia were both elders because they were turned by Marcus.
Victor is older than Marcus.
I know, like Marcus
chronologically, but Marcus is the first. Victor is older due to actual age.
Yeah, I'm saying but as far as vampires, Marcus is the first. He was like the original, and he turned.
Him and Amelia
Victor
were the first.
And Amelia, so they are elders. That's why they're called elders.
Yep, and so then they turned their army in order. It's a lesser strain, essentially.
Yeah,
because the more generations separated between the elders and their spawn, you get basically lowborns.
Yeah,
as they explain it later on.
So, which is most of the vampires, with the exception of Celine at this point, because she was turned by Victor.
She was turned, or she is a direct tie to Victor, so she has the potential to be an elder later on.
Yes, I think that's why Craven is trying to ever by his side because of that
She's
reason.
a highborn, essentially.
Yes.
Even though she's came from human stock.
So half vampire, half lycan, but stronger
than both.
So.
And while she's biting him, she gets interrupted by Victor. Victor basically is like, I am not going to allow this.
Yes.
You may have killed me, cousin, but my will is done regardless.
Yeah. Oh, as he's saying that to Craven.
Yep. And then Craven just finishes him off.
Yeah. I love it. You may have killed me, cousin. But my will
is
done
regardless.
Yeah. So he's like, shot with the silver nitrate bullets.
Now you can shoot. Yeah. After after Michael changes into the hybrid, they could shoot him, or the only way that they're going to kill him is through seriously grievous injury. However, we learn in the second movie, it's not exactly easy to kill him. Yes, this is where, or he explains it.
Basically, I'm skipping through parts because at this Michael's been thrown through this wall, so Victor's expecting to see Michael on the other side.
Yep.
And he's like, he turns and looks, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
That's why there's a look of shock on his face.
Yep. He's like, I could have sworn I thrown him through, or could have sworn I just tossed him through here.
Yeah.
But spin around and there's a hybrid there. It's like, oh shit. The one thing I wanted to freaking make sure never happens. I had one freaking job, but I'm going to make sure that this fucker dies today.
Yes. So.
Yeah. Shock Craven's not trustworthy. Not sure.
Yeah, shocker.
But I love this because I love his look right there. He's like, oh shit. So this is what my grandkid would have looked like.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Right there. Half vampire, half lycan, best of both worlds, but stronger than both.
But yeah, we got to show the shove because, folks, you want to see how fast Michael is.
Yeah. Right here. Pause. Stop there. Boom. Boom.
Shove, and there he is. He's already down there waiting for him. It's like anime fast. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, that would have just been so cool if they did the Goku speed effect. But yeah, he is that fast. And we get the fight, and it's mostly one-sided, but I do like how it does shift to Victor's favor.
Mm-hmm. Because I get I understand the shifting to Victor's favor because
Victor is stronger.
Michael is newly half vampire, half lycan, so he is not really accounted for whatever abilities he has.
Yeah, he doesn't, he's just into this.
Yes,
where Victor has centuries of experience.
Normally in movies, it's like this happens and boom, all of a sudden this character knows what to do, pretty much. Yeah. In this case, he also isn't trained. He's not a fighter, so it's like he has those abilities, but he hasn't harnessed them. He has no idea what he can do.
He knows he has claws, and that's what he mainly uses in this fight. He is slashing up Victor. Mm-hmm. And Victor, well, he is training. Also, he had centuries of skill and training. Yeah. And combat. Yeah, Bill Nye only had a few weeks of physical training because he's mostly a comedy actor. Yeah. This was his very serious role where they actually had to teach him how to throw a punch effectively and not hit anybody when throwing the punch.
Yeah, see how fast Michael was there, basically threw him and he's with them.
Yep.
As he's being thrown against the wall. But anyway, so I'm kind of skipping parts because ultimately it's not Michael who kills Victor.
It's Celine.
Bring it up.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. Victor is getting ready to to kill Michael here.
Yeah.
And so she's like, screw this.
I love the shot.
Yeah, she slices him.
There, boom.
Yep. And I love how it's not a full decapitation; it's half a decapitation.
Yeah.
And I love, right there, because he's like, why?
And it's so
can't I
fast.
move?
It's so fast. He still turns around and it doesn't literally cross his mind. No pun intended.
Yeah.
That he has been decapitated.
Yeah, because he pulls out his knives and he's essentially trying to move, but he's slowly realizing that he can't move because, well, brain dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, slip.
And I love how the movie ends, where we see the blood draining from Singe
and into Marcus's crypt.
Crypt. I just want to show like the eyes. So it comes down, drifting into us, and you see Marcus. Marcus kind of looks like how Victor was.
Yeah, the desiccated look.
And then opens his eyes. They're blue, starting out normal.
Blue. Yep.
And then
it's like, oh shit! So he's now a hybrid.
Yes.
But also, what we don't show you is after the fight with Victor is dead, Michael gets up and starts looking around. There's a bunch of freaking lycans looking, and they're like, "Yeah, we're out of here. We don't want any of that."
Yeah, they're
backing off.
Nope. Like they nope out.
Yeah, it's like we are not fighting this thing. He just slaughtered an elder, or these two just killed an elder.
And so basically,
So
basically, the second movie kind of picks up where this one essentially ends, because now Celine and Michael are on the run because Celine killed an elder, so that's pretty much a death sentence on her head.
Yep.
And Michael's a hybrid, so he has death sentence on his head because he can't have that. Pretty much.
Yeah. It is one of their big or most grievous laws. You do not consort with animals. Essentially, it's bestiality, folks. That's why it's illegal.
Yeah. So, it kind of was a samurai cut. Because of how fast it was, and so forth. But that is Underworld from 2003. So basically, it's a 21-year-old film this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one came out, and the second one came out not too long after the first one, because actually the sequel was actually greenlit. I think even before the first one was released, because they based on how audiences in Canada basically reacted to the film. And not only was a sequel greenlit before this one was essentially released, a prequel was greenlit.
Yep.
Before this was released.
Yeah. They knew that this story had to be told in its fullest context.
Yes, they pretty much based on audience reactions.
Also, folks, in this movie, Celine is said to be 600 years old. And if you watch all of the movies, specifically Blood Wars, there's lines that are whispered from her. I have lived 1,000 years. So essentially, Blood Wars takes place 400 years after the events of Underworld 1.
All right.
So yeah, she essentially, or the war rages on over centuries. Quite literally.
Yeah.
I actually edited the wiki the fandom or the wiki fandom page for that. It's like, the events of Blood Wars takes place 400 years later, as well as the events of or I'm guessing the events of Underworld Awakening takes place maybe 50 years later or something, when the war finally spills out completely. Because, well, we'll discuss that tomorrow or next week.
Yeah, but that is Underworld, and next week is Underworld 2, where we get the evolution, a clearer backstory in regards to Marcus and his brother William and the Corvinus line.
Yep.
As well as why Victor actually slaughtered Celine's family. We find that out in the second film, so that's expanded upon. And with Marcus being a hybrid, that makes things a lot more interesting because now he wants to free his brother, who is pretty much entirely animal. Like there is no humanity in William. Yeah, he cannot control himself. There's like no humanity left in William. If there were like whatever was left is gone in the second one, and you see that. You see that particularly at the end of the movie.
We also get to see Alexander Corvinus.
Yes.
Played brilliantly by Sir Derek Jacobi.
Jacobi, yes. Eventually you'd get the name Derek Jacobi.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, man. Why can't I say it right?
Yes. Yeah.
So tomorrow,
I love this distinguishing characteristics between William and the other Lycans, because basically, like as Orange had said, William's pestilence.
Yes, William's pestilence looks like him in the prequel. However, in the sequel, William's pestilence looks like lycans, like the other one's just a little bit with more fur.
Yeah. So, but basically, regardless, like you kind of see the evolution from those turned by William to those turned by, kind of like with vampires, to those turned by other lycans, pretty much down the line. So like you see that little bit of evolution.
The evolution.
Yeah, the evolution. So like I said, I did see 4. I just don't remember anything other than the huge Lycan.
Yes, Charles Dance is. Yeah. I like Charles Dance in those movies. He was the one that pretty much carried those movies.
Yeah. So I part of me I don't want to say checked out of 4, but I was like, again with the huge Lycan, I was like, come on.
Give it a watch again, and then
I'm gonna give it a watch. I'm gonna give it a watch again, and then I'm gonna watch 5 at some point because I have not seen the 5th one.
It is a step down, but it's. I mean, you can almost tell that Kate Beckinsale didn't want to do the 5th one. I mean, she just looks fed up.
I probably at that point I would be too. Just because it should have been. Arguably, it should have been just the first 2 films and then the prequel, Rise of the Lycans, and that's fine. That's it.
Because the second one ends with such a great openness, or it's very much open ended, but it also could be closed too. The war is pretty much over now. Yeah, it's like the prequel. We'll talk about now. The prequel is the 3rd movie in the line, but it's set before 1 and 2, obviously. So it's then 4 and 5. With the full re-edit, folks, if you decide to do the digital library, like I said, if you do decide to go digital library, I mean, physical media is always, I do recommend physical media as well, but if you do get digital library, get it on Vudu. Vudu is the best area to do this. Wait for sales, because they usually go on sale as well, or they do sales where you can get them for cheaper. But also, make sure you do a Movies Anywhere, because then you'll see special features and such, which is also fun to watch. You can also watch the audio commentary. Sometimes Vudu does that, sometimes they don't. Now, the difference between Movies Anywhere and Vudu is Vudu can do Lionsgate movies, where Movies Anywhere will not have Lionsgate movies. And a few other ones, like A23 or A26 or whatever it is. Or A24 Studio or whatever it was, the one that did Sound of Freedom. That studio is A24. Yeah, they don't have a thing with them, but yes, Movies Anywhere does a good job with the or being a secondary library, but Vudu or Movies Anywhere is just a digital library for Disney or for Disney and their partners, where Vudu, you can get a whole ton of other great movies. Orange Hat keeps saying Vudu, and not now. I got the Godsmack song. VUDU, not Voodoo. But yeah. Voodoo Fandango is actually the full name of it, because Fandango recently bought them last year or the year before.
But anyway, that is the first Underworld film, and if you haven't seen the second one, you have to watch that before next week, because we will be going, obviously into spoilers. during the discussion. So watch Underworld Evolution is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow on his channel, he'll go over it. Will be the first of the singles. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hanging out with us. Orange Hats again. Let everybody know where they can find you and what's going on in the near future.
Twice a month here, twice a month, and twice on my channel for the singles. Tomorrow we are doing My Bloody Valentine from 1981, I do believe. So, yep, I'm going to be watching that tomorrow for the first time. And then next week we are doing My Bloody Valentine 2009, the remake with Jensen Ackles.
Yes,
I do believe. And so, other than that, you can find me Fridays for Uncensored, Sundays for the weekly recap, Tuesdays for the versus streams of originals versus recap or remakes, and Tuesday nights on the Barroom Podcast on Society Reviews channel. Great channel, I highly recommend it. And Wednesdays for the ones and twos twice a month on Mars channel.
Yeah. Yes, and tomorrow, obviously, I'll be on Orange Chat's channel talking the original My Bloody Valentine. Friday, I'm going to try to go live in the evening, most likely playing a multiplayer game of sorts. Maybe some Halo MCC, maybe some Splitgate. So, Cowman, Gigawatt, if you're free, you're welcome to join. Either one. I can't be on for as long as I normally do play Friday evenings because I have to get up on the early side to help my sister with something. So, because I have to wake up between 7:30 and 8 a.m. Saturday morning. So I won't be able to stay up as late as I normally do. But you, again, more than welcome to join once I stream Friday evening. Saturday, I'm going to try to go live Saturday, finishing up the Separate Ways DLC on my Twitch for Resident Evil 4. I'm on the last chapter, so I should probably have it finished. Probably Saturday afternoon. If not, then only one more Saturday after that, where I cosplay as Ada Wong while playing it. And then Talk Nerdy to Us has moved. Yeah, I know I can't, Gigawatt. I can't. Talk Nerdy to Us has moved from Saturday evening to Sunday afternoon. Unless anything changes, pretty much. At about 1:30 p.m. Eastern Sunday afternoon will be Talk Nerdy to Us on my channel. And then basically live later on Kick. Maybe, I don't know. Or I might do a watch party. I don't know. We'll see how I feel because Sundays is not only Talk Nerdy to Us, but it's also D&D. So we'll see how I feel Sunday evening, pretty much. I might do just a watch party. But
don't let Steve torture you too much.
Oh no. He's afraid to give me his address because I've threatened to send him outro candles.
Yeah.
And I'll do it too.
I don't doubt it.
Anyway. So we'll see. It's if it's all three of us, if it's Ms. Marmuse's, Lady G, and myself, the mission will take us to San Francisco. So that's gonna be interesting.
Indeed.
So take care, ladies and gentlemen. Again, watch My Bloody Valentine from 1981 for tomorrow. To answer your question, Gigawatts, no. And the reason why is multifold, pretty much. For one thing, now what I might do when we start the 90s campaign is find a way to record the session and then maybe set it as a premiere so people can watch it if the other people in my party are comfortable with it. And that's the reason why, one of the reasons why I'm not streaming them is because everyone has to be comfortable with doing so in front of an audience, pretty much, and not everyone is. Okay? Secondly, and this is the bigger reason why, and that is the audience, the people in the chat, tend to metagame. And what do I mean by metagame? I mean, like, try to help the players. If the players are supposed to remember something and they don't, people will be in the chat going, oh, remember you forgot this. Remember you're supposed to do this. Remember this. That's metagaming. Right? We try to avoid that. If we forget it, then our characters forget it, and we're screwed, pretty much. That's how the tabletop RPGs works. All right? Yeah. So, and to piggyback off of the metagaming one with the chat, if the chat sends super chats and we have to take a break, and I'd have to read the super chats, or whomever's streaming would have to read the super chats, and it like adds time to that and so forth. So maybe when we're done with the 80s campaign, I'll talk with the group to see if they'd be comfortable with recording it and like setting it as a premiere for people to watch. But I'd have to make sure of that before I do anything. But those are the reasons why we do not stream these campaigns. And secondly, actually no, fourthly, the reason why we don't stream these campaigns is because there's attributes to certain characters that if you do not know that we are playing D&D, you'll think, holy fucking shit, that's racist as hell. No,
there's also it's rated NC-17 that would get them kicked off of YouTube.
Pretty much.
I mean, shit, they might even get kicked off of Rumble if they did it there.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a hassle. It's just we kind of have to be all in agreement. Yeah. But otherwise, no streaming it. So you just have to, for the time being, listen to my regaling you with what transpired in D&D. All right, that's it. Like that was like a long ass answer to your question, but it did require multiple parts for you to understand why we don't stream it. And yes, and there's a character based off of Trey, and his name is Trevor now. So,
wow.
And there's a character based off of Gravy D, whose name is Graves. And both of you are psychopaths. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a good rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And we will see you all tomorrow on Orange Hat's channel for My Bloody Valentine. Peace.
Yeah. Stay humble.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.